Have a seat. Let's get these hips moving. When it comes to the hips, remember, they're a ball and socket joint. We need to challenge rotation. A shin box movement is a great movement to challenge that internal and external rotation of the hip. But we need to make sure we're not trying to impress social media or impress anyone out there by trying to do it with no hands. And now we're fighting for position, feeling ourselves scooting across the floor. Use your hands as a guide to keep the main thing, which is the hips, moving into internal and external rotation. After we do about 8 to 10 of these on each side, well, let's lock it down on just one. So let's put our right hand on our left ankle, put our left hand locking that side down, thinking good, strong posture. And I'm really just going to focus now on this trail hip. So now I'm going to pick this leg up. I'm going to bring my heels together, going external rotation. And now I'm going internal rotation. So no foot, just tap my knee, pull it under, tap my heel, only my knee. But I'm keeping my posture upright. And from the side, what I've had people do these in the past, if they don't have this hand down, you see them start to like lean and they're trying to fight. Don't do that. Put this hand down, and if you really need to regress it, you can go elbow down and really just try to keep the main thing, which is focusing on moving that hip through internal and external rotation. After we've moved that a couple times, let's add in some hip flexion. So kind of the same position here from the starting point, and now we pick that leg up. I want you to swing it around to the front. So now we're like a number figure 4, high hip flexion, but I'm not leaning backwards, making it easier. If your hip can go up this high, unless you're crazy flexible, you're probably getting it from leaning backwards. So sit upright, bring it around. Once again, tapping your knee, pulling up nice and tall, sitting upright. We're going to get like 6 to 8 of these on each side. And remember, just trying to focus on this hip as much as possible. Once we do that, let's kind of work into a rock back. So we're going to kind of open up nice and wide, elbows flat on the ground, and we're just going to kind of drift back and forth in our hips. When it comes to drifting forward, I want to make sure we're squeezing our glutes and not just arching our back, letting things flop around. Try to keep a flat back, no different if you're holding a plank. Squeeze your glutes, and then slide back, release your glutes. Squeeze your glutes, slowly back, release your glutes. We're going to do that for about 8 reps, just nice and easy. Don't blow your groin out. Kind of ease into it, ease out of it. From there, I want to start building some tension. So we're going to go plank. Elbows on the ground, feet on the ground, and I want you to make this the hardest plank you've ever held. I want you to tilt your pelvis underneath you, hollow out a little bit, push through the floor, and I want you to think into the nose, forceful exhale. Get tighter as you exhale. We're going to go for about 5 or 6 breaths, really trying to focus on that intent of the plank. From there, we're going to challenge that trunk as the femur extends away. So we're going to move towards a dead bug because the hip flexors, specifically the psoas, as it runs across the front side of the pelvis, we really want to make sure that we're in control of what's going on with that lower back as that femur extends away from us, because that's where that muscle connects. So we're going to switch to a dead bug now. We're going to make it pretty easy. I want to go arms straight up, legs straight up. Back flat, pack chin, low back stays on the ground, and all we're going to think is the same sort of breathing protocol. I want you to forcefully exhale as you drop. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop. Hold that exhale at the end and make sure that we're equally pulling that leg up as we're dropping the other one down. Let's get about 8 reps on each side. Let's start to get that groin a little bit more involved now. So now we're going to work to an adductor rock back. Big focus here is on the adductors, groin. Might get a little bit out of the hamstring, but what I don't want you to do is be fighting back to trying to force something. Remember, tissue isn't something that you're going to force into position. I've had success with easing into it, easing out of it, maybe easing and exhaling and trying to get a little bit deeper, but don't push past pain and don't try to force anything. From here, nice, easy rock back. And then as we rock forward, I'm squeezing my glutes to create that tension. I'm not just arching my back, flopping to the ground. Reach back, sit into the hips, squeeze glutes towards the floor. Rock back, reach back, rock forward, squeeze our glutes to the floor. We're going to get about 5, 6, 7, somewhere around then. Just kind of feel it out. If you feel tight, try to get a couple more reps to ease into it. I'm cool with that. Before we stand up, I love doing groin isos. Everyone wants to spend time on getting the abductors activated or moving or whatever it is, that we don't spend enough time on the adductors. And their role on the pelvis is very important. So after we do some sort of movement, I like to come right back at it with some stability. So now we're going to go kind of like a groin squeeze. We're just going to put our elbow between our knee, our hand between the other knee, and we're going to rotate our body to which way our hand is on the ground, and we're just going to go max effort squeeze for like 3 to 5 seconds. Squeeze, squeeze, release. One of the biggest things here as you rotate side to side is that I don't want you to think gas pedal to the ground. I want you to think ease into it. So maybe this time we'll talk through it a little bit more. 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%. Now we're giving it some max effort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Remember, think nice and tall. Let's get about 3 to maybe 3-ish on each side, whatever you feel is comfortable. Don't blow your groin out right out the gate. Ease into it, squeezing just as much as you feel comfortable. From there, let's work our way up. As we get these hips loose for squat, now as we move to our feet, I want us to think about, once again, getting right back on those adductors. Drifting side to side. I like to keep my whole foot on the ground because I'm trying to build that engagement because I'm getting ready to do some sort of high-level squat, some sort of high-intensity movement. If you feel yourself like you can't get deep, you may need a counterbalance just to kind of assist your body to get a little bit deeper, or maybe even just exhale into the range of motion. And no matter what you see on social media, more is not better. So don't force something, maybe getting to a point that you don't have it, and now you're putting your body at risk because you're about to ask it to do something very demanding like a very high intensity squat. After we've worked kind of wide, I like to build it back in. So now we're going to go to that squat position. Good opportunity to kind of get some body weight squats, just kind of feeling those hips, moving around a little bit. Maybe get like 8, 10, whatever it is. And then maybe on the 8th one, now we're going to start to move in that groin a little bit from standing. So kind of just like feel around. I've given the cue, write your name in cursive with your butthole, whatever works. Just kind of move around the hips, push your knees out, bring your knees in, just trying to play around a little bit. And once you do that for, 10, 20 seconds, we'll go hands on the ground and then open the spine. Even though all these movements are focused on the hips, we definitely want to make sure that we're doing something with the hips, adding in the torso, because the upper body and lower body are definitely connected. So after you open the hips up like that and then move to that rotation, maybe about 8 reps each side, we're ready for squats. Hope it helps.